feeling you're being followed?
Yes, a little bit. Oh, we're getting filmed here.
Oh, you had yours.
I was hoping somebody would bring a camera.
Going.
Here.
That's nice. I thought it was on the way upstairs there.
So you got about 3 National Open champions now.
That's right.
We asked our Heavenly Father, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to bless all of us here present on this food that we're about to eat, and to watch over Danny as he roams the fair winds of heaven.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
When this plaque business came up about Danny and went through, it made me start to think and wonder what we could do for Danny at this time. So my son and I had a little conference, and we decided the nicest thing to do would be to have a little dinner and have what family we could gather together who were not too far away, and some very close friends. So this is what we decided to do, to have it at Pal's, because the plaque is here, the original plaque is here, and because this is where the New Jersey PGA started, and where I can remember when Pal's was a little hamburger stand, hamburger stand, and Dan and I both watched it grow as the pros had their meetings here finally after a while. They started the PGA and had their meetings here and so forth, and we had some of the best times of our younger life. So we decided this was probably the appropriate thing to do.
Right.
And I know Danny Sr. did not want us to come here and lament on his passing by. He would rather see us happy as we have all been and enjoying ourselves in his memory. We all miss him very, very much. He was a good husband and father and so forth and so on, and I get too teary-eyed to say any more about that sort of thing. And we had many 48 happy years together, Dan and I. Now, I think the first one that you say a few words is the one that I have known the longest, and golf-wise and so forth, is Father Leo. I've known him since he was, what, 19? Were you, Father, when you won the first championship in Shackmax?
It was in 2028. Oh, 1928.
I wasn't even born then.
No, I mean, how old? You were probably about 19?
19, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, 19.
Right.
That's
And
right.
he
I told
won
you I
it,
wasn't born.
I wasn't.
and he won it quite a few times. So I think it would be nice if you said it.
I say, coming down in the car with
No,
John.
John, I said, I remember when his father, Danny, was playing a little golf out there in short pants. Remember that? When I was a member.
oh yes, oh yes, yes.
Dan,
Right, right.
you're going to say it? So, and Danny had some great pupils too. I see where Mrs. Cadone is just going to be taken into the Hall of Fame in North Carolina this year. And she was one of his best.
Yeah.
And that Bob Lester was a great, remember Bob Lester?
I remember Bob Lester very well, but Father, I think you were one of his really stars to begin with.
Yeah, right.
I think you were part of him building up his reputation as a teacher. I really think that.
But I'll never forget the time I was at a wedding and I was in the ROTC and we were drinking some Applejack punch. And I decided to drive out to the club. And I got out there. The only time I ever did this, I got out of the car and that big tree alongside of the putting green, I said, I got to take a nap. You know, I was a little tired. Danny was giving a lesson to Bob and Lester.
Bob Lester.
From Baltimore.
So he woke me up and he said, would you like to play 9 holes with Bob? I said, sure, I'll play him. Dollar there, so I think I had $2 in my pocket. Lester went out, had a 33. I had a 36. And after the last time I saw Bob.
Yeah.
But he had a swing just like Bobby Jones.
Beautiful
An upright
swing.
swing.
Beautiful swing. Well, you had a good swing too. Now, the next one I think that might be able to say quite a few words too. And he is the only pro present, so we'll ask him, Jerry SESSO.
I'll be glad to.
Danny, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Millie.
You got 2 more.
Would you retire, Dad, or what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The oldest pro here. The oldest pro.
I would like to, I figured that, Millie, you would call me to say something.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my.
Don't pull out any
You
speeches.
would have felt very bad. You would have felt very bad if I hadn't called you.
When we were talking about this, may I have your attention, please? I ham. And I've been on TV about 8 or 9 times, and all the guys from Jersey, including Carl Jans, thinks that I don't know how to ham, so I don't get involved. But this is what I did. Danny had nominated his father. Somehow or another, he wasn't given any consideration. Danny and I were talking with Father Leo, okay? And Danny is a little bit upset, meaning your son.
Yes,
Okay.
I know
And I'm listening to him.
a lot.
And so when we're listening, I said, look, Danny, you can do all the talking you want, but you got to be a little bit careful in what you say. You can say whatever you want in front of me and Father Leo, but you can't turn around and you notice I'm withholding, various names, and I will, because
Yes.
I was born in Doodletown. I mean, that's the whole thing. So anyhow, make a long story short, talking with Dan, and we told him to come and talk to you about a plaque that they had with all the pros' names from Rory Hagan to Leo Deagle to Ed Dudley, Horton Smith, and we wanted to know why they gave it to your husband. And I understand that you did not know, the one that was in the golf shop. So, I'm not going to give up. So, Father Leo and I were talking, and I'm praying, and I'm telling you, I am a terrific prayer, and I believe in it. So, to make a long story short, I talked to John. And I said, John, what do you think that plaque is up there for? What reason would you have? He says, I don't know. I know that he said he didn't know. And then he turned around, and I am so proud of this. I mean, I'm not friendly. I'm not egotistical. I believe in Almighty God. That's all it's for. Everybody does. But maybe I'm going to be the 13th apostle. That's all there's to it. To make a long story short,
That's what you
John said, well, I honestly think they gave it to him because he was going to leave the tour they used to play in the wintertime for and go back to a job being a club golf professional. Oh, I said, John, I like that. He says, okay, now you get this plaque and we're going to make a photostatic copy of that. And I said, you get all of the literature, is that right? He says, I'll handle it all. Well, get it prepared for me. That's all I want. And I'll draw up the idea as to what that plaque really meant. And if I can read it, so forth and so on, I'll read it to you. This is to Dave Clements. Now, I've never brought this to you, and they had to burn the school down to get me out of the 5th grade, and I'm not afraid to say it either. Dear Dave, you have asked me to submit some reasons in writing why I have nominated the late Danny Williams, Senior the First, for the New Jersey Hall of Fame at the spring meeting. I made the motion and Danny seconded it, okay? But this chairman decided that I had to write something about it, why I wanted him to be nominated for the Hall of Fame. Well, that wasn't hard at all. Not after he and I talked a little bit, and he gave me just maybe a guessing at it, thought that he left the tour because he was going back to be a club golf professional, meaning golf professionals at golf courses like your husband work for club spirit, the interested members, teaching, whatnot, equipment, and all, the benefit of the game, working, giving the game as much as he probably got from it, put it back again. So I go to this other paragraph. Enclosed is the history of Danny Williams. I talked to Mr. Williams one day, me, and I went to him. That's your husband. I said, Danny, I'm being told this and I'm being told this. I was wondering if you would tell me or would help me, because I don't want to say something about a golf swing and then not know what I'm saying. Anything you want to know, he says, I will tell you. Okay? I never forgot that. It's just like a kid that somebody gives him a lollipop. He'll never forget it as long as he lives. I didn't forget it either. Okay? So here we go. Danny Williams Sr. Now, let me get this again. Enclosed is the history of Danny Williams Sr. in golf with my personal opinion. That's all I said. Note, up to a point, the record speaks for itself. That's all I said. The record speaks, meaning your husband's life, his record speaks for itself. Who was more outstanding than him at one time as a teacher? No one in the metropolitan area that I know of. I'm not saying there wasn't other good pros, but outstanding I'm talking about. That's the big thing I'm talking about. Godone, Gloody, you know, Billy Deere and everybody else. Bob Lester and whatnot. Up to a point, the record speaks for itself. See if I can turn around and hurry it now a little bit. And I believe Danny Williams Sr. name should be selected just like, I'll read it because the lighting is not. Should be selected for inclusion to the New Jersey Golf Professional Hall of Fame. It was my opinion, for what I gave, that he should be selected. Okay? I didn't pull no punches. Why? The next word was why. Because enclosed is a portfolio, meaning that plaque that you have. Okay? Plus a photostatic picture of some of the greatest golf professionals of yesterday. And they were all on there, from Leo Deagle and everybody else. And each one has acknowledged fine compliments, what they said on it. I seen this plaque all the time in the shop, you know, up there. I'd look at it, but right now we're getting to what it meant. Okay? This is what I'm proud of, as far as your husband is concerned, or your father, Danny, okay? Or the great Father Leo, who probably taught Danny how to teach, you know, or something like that, okay? Is that all right, Father? Why the compliments? Reason being, why the compliments? Reason being, well, I'm trying to break it down so I give you, you know, an understanding of it. I could have read it very easily. Why the compliments? Reason being, Danny Williams was giving up the tour to spend the rest of his life as a PGA club professional, specializing in teaching, and the record speaks for itself. That's one byline that I use almost in every paragraph. There was nothing else to say, but I mean, the record speaks for itself. Just bring it out, that's all. Plus the fact to dedicate the ideals that the name professional golfer shall be synonymous. I don't even know how to spell it. I'm not afraid to say it. A word having the same significant as another. Honor, service, and fair dealing. Is personal integrity, fidelity, uprightness, honesty, soundness, faithful, loyalty, reliability to the game of golf, and a sense of responsibility to employer, employees, manufacturers, clientele, and to his brother professionals. Transcend thoughts of material gain to rise again, excel, exceed. Yes, and the record speaks for itself.
Very good.
That's all I want to say. Have another one. You know, Danny?
Very nice, Jerry. Thank you.
I thank the Lord Almighty God. That's what I mean. Because when Father Leo called me, I said, Lord, if you never give me anything else, you've given me everything I ever wanted. Because, I mean, I always thought that I could turn around and perform a miracle in a half a minute, but this took about a minute. You know what I mean?
That was nice.
Thank you, Jerry, very
Thank you,
much.
Mrs. Williams. I enjoyed it very much, believe me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, did I ham enough?
Yeah, you did great.
Jerry, that was just great. Now, there's another fellow here at the same table.
That's the speaker's
And
table.
I would say we made a great many friends in this golf business of ours. And we've always loved all of them. We still have a great many friends, but I think one of our very best friends was Chuck Gardner at the Knoll. And I think he has a few words to say, and he might start off with a good golf joke.
I've told this story so many times, and this is a story that not only goes about golf and friendship. It's Danny Williams, Johnny Aiello, and myself. I had a tax case in Kansas. I told Johnny and Danny, I said, look, I'm going to be through with this thing in about an hour or so. Why don't we go to the racetrack at Camden?
Just a little louder, will you please, Mr. John?
So we said, okay. We'll go on to the racetrack, and sure enough, I finished the same time. Now, we're through, and I'm through at about 11 o'clock. The first race is about 1. So there's Johnny and Danny and I. We look for the nearest golf course. It happens to be Tavistock. So we go over to the Tavistock Country Club, walk in, tell them who we are and so forth, and we would like to look through the club. All we're looking for is a waste of time. We get to the bar and we said, okay, we can have a drink. And they said, okay. So we have a drink. And as we have a drink, a guy walks up and hits Danny on the back. Danny Williams, haven't seen you since Shackamaxon. He's now the president of the Tavistock Country Club. And to make a long story short, we got poured into the the Camden racetrack. Okay? We're at the Camden racetrack, and it just seems everything's going right. Wherever we bet, we win, we win. Finally, in the last race, there's a horse called Persian Claw.
What was his name?
Persian Claw. And I turned to Danny and Johnny, and I said, Persian Claw? I said, we got Persian cats. I said, one of the goddamn cats was in my car. I had to chase it out to get you guys in the morning. Let's go for Persian Claw. We go for Persian Claw. Persian Claw pays 15-1. Now we are making a trip from Camden to Mountain Lakes. and we're in good shape. Now, you guys from Shack and Maxon, we stopped at some bar. We had to go. We went all the way out of the way to get to this bar that Danny hung out.
Yeah, that right near the club.
And we tell everybody the story, Persian calls, Persian cats, and how we won. Finally, I get home and my wife looks at me and I'm sitting there. Okay, shut up. I'll talk to you all about tomorrow morning. I wake up in the morning and I said, Doc, keep the damn Persian cats. And I tell her about Persian cats, Persian claws. She looks at me and she's, Chuck, we don't have Persian cats. We got Siamese.
I think that's very good.
What a day that was, huh?
Very, very good.
Man, that's going from Camden to Mountain Lakes. We didn't miss a place along the line.
Well, I think now maybe Danny would like to say
You didn't drink any more. You drank just as much.
Danny would like to say a few words in closing, right?
In closing,
Well,
no more speakers here. Donna wants to say a few words.
How about the grandchildren? Can't they say
well,
something?
Well, let's lead into them.
Danny's going to lead into the grandchildren, I think.
I don't think I can stand here. I got
No,
a
you
little
can't stand.
corporation here. I don't think I can get up here. But
Well, you can't
this
anyway.
fellow right here, this is a tough act to follow. Three of you big leaguers there. But I know that my dad was a very good friend of everybody here, especially you fellas. You knew him. And I happened to be a young fella hanging around Shackamaxon when Father Leo was a champ over there. I think I was there, but I might have been just being thought about. And it was more fun, and to have Father Leo come up and Jerry come up and play my golf course, and have the members and the club accept them, and just love to have them there, and it's a credit to Mendham, and I am very proud to be the pro there. And Chuck, I was at the Knoll, and talking a million stories.
Long time.
From that Knoll, John Aiello and Joe Aiello and Chuck Gardner and Danny Williams Sr. I was just a guy there kind of watching it all, and I just loved it all, every second of it. And I remember how I got into golf because my dad said, you'll never be a ball player. You better get into golf. And they used to rake us off the street playing baseball and make us caddy, and it was to his credit. I'm so happy that I got into the golf profession. I'm happy to see that my son Danny went through the profession a little bit, and he was doing it for a while, and then he ended up as the club manager, and he's going to get into club managership, and he's in the golf game. He's a low handicap player. He's won some tournaments, and I know with John and my dad got Danny to play. I couldn't get him to play, but he got him to play. I wish he knew that John played. John played a little bit, but I know he'd be proud to know that John's an assistant pro and also at the Mendham Golf Club, and his grandchildren, and Nancy plays, and Donna plays, and Steve plays, and everybody plays. I don't know whether Audrey plays and Don plays, but Mom would play if she could see well enough, and she really can, but she won't.
I play if you give me a lesson.
And Jane Gay's going to play, and Jack plays golf. I don't know how he plays. I've never seen him play, but terrible. But this man is responsible for so many people playing golf, and that was his gift. And all I know is he was a great instructor, a great player, great husband, great father, great grandfather. And I think we just had one grandchild at that time. It was Nancy's first child there. I don't know whether yours was born at that time.
I don't think
But anyway, I just wish he was still around to see them. And But anyhow, I think there's no question, I know, he belongs in the Jersey Hall of Fame, probably should have been the first one in it. And not only that, he should be in the National Hall of Fame. And I just wish that the people that know he belongs there could get him in there, but he belongs there. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
I have to say that I have 3 daughters also, and they all live just a little too far away to have them come up for a dinner like this. But I had plaques made for them, and I have sent each one of them a plaque, which I'm sure that they will love very, very much. And I just want to thank you all for being here. And I thank my stepdaughter, Jingay, and her husband, Jacques. And I just wish that Dan could be with us, but he can't, and I'm sure he's here with us in spirit. And I'm sure that this is just what he would have wanted. He never wanted anyone to grieve or to be unhappy. He loved people and he wanted them to be happy. So this is what we are doing tonight. And thank you all for being here.
I just want to say one thing that came to my mind. I'm not in good voice tonight. But the first time I met Danny, I was caddying in the National Open Championship at Inwood. I was 16 years old, and Bobby Cruikshank was the pro at Shakamaxon. And Danny was a caddy master. And Cruikshank tied Jones in that tournament. And the only thing they told Danny was over there, they said, stay with Bobby all night so he gets some sleep, because these old cronies at the tournaments, you know, would like to stay up and drink.
Yeah.
But Jones beat Cruikshank the next day in the playoffs. And that was the first time I ever met Dan at that time. What year were you married, Millie?
We were married in 1920.
20, and this was in 21, 23.
23?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Can the grandchildren say something?
Oh, yes. How about
you mean we
Danny?
have to?
How about Danny the Third?
Okay. All right, I'm going to stand up. We have the camera check.
Oh, you're going to stand up, right.
One of the few moments that I get on the other end of the camera. I just remember we used to go out in the Knoll living with you.
Right.
And he used to take me out on the Knoll East at night. I got, it was a thrill to see him. He actually did some shots. It was fantastic. And it's so vivid in my memory. I just feel lucky to have that. And I'd also like to say, if somebody were to ask me who my most admired people of, my lifetime are, he's number 1. My father was number 2. Turned out, I got there and I was really nervous about it. I hadn't played that much competition up until.
I like that. May I say something? I like that, Danny. I'll tell you why. Anything that you have to do in your life.
Everything you said about his golf was basically, let's say he was state open champ. Let's say he was state amateur champ. Let's say he won the pro. How many pros? How many Baber Shorters had a Cudone? How many Baber Shorters had the girls that Danny had that went on for golf? None of them.
No. Well, of course,
That is the biggest factor
that's
against.
the biggest one.
Right.
Then
And this
when
is
they say, well, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
that's their
because
baloney.
he never won anything. Well,
That's their baloney. But there's
yeah.
nobody. There's even they take Johnny Kinder. There's nobody that can go back and look back.
no, they
The
have
girl,
to-
let's take you down, which he's won today.
Yeah.
And the other girls, the girls that he taught, the people that he taught, and this becomes his big factor.
Mrs. Williams, Millie, I was the individual in the latter part of the second year, unbeknown to your son. I got up and asked the floor at the PGA, and I'm not talking behind backs, and I'm talking openly. I asked what was the format in order to be elected to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
I asked that question, and the president says, I don't know, we don't have no format. Well, then who should I ask? And they got Larry Mullins, who was chairman of the Hall of Fame when they selected the 10. You know that. And Danny wasn't in there, see? And he says, Jerry, there is no format, with the exception you can win the state open, you could, any other reasons why anybody's chosen without even winning an event? I said, may I ask? You see, you gotta go back to being the president of your section, what you have done for your section.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not bitter about it. I'm not.
I know that.
I hope
But
that.
I, as an individual, and I keep saying this, I'm not saying this to be a wise guy, but if I were in Danny Williams' shoes with my mind, what's his name, Aiello was selling that place, I'd have to have a piece of that place, I mean, because after all, he made it.
I'm sorry he wouldn't give us a piece
I
of it.
know.
I was just counting. I didn't even get
I tried to follow the hearse. I even wanted to follow the hearse because
don't
I
have
thought
Danny
this is
Williams
such a wicked man. He can't take it with
Really?
him.
Listen, before we go any further, listen, thank you all. Let's wind it up, and then we can talk
but
all we
if you
want.
don't have-
Thank you
if you
very
don't-
much for coming.
Yes, okay.
And it was a nice dinner, and we're honored to have you all here.
Right.
And anytime you want to leave.
Oh, you want to get rid of him, Danny?
No, I'm just giving them permission. It's 10 of 10. And if anybody wants to leave, they can leave. And anybody wants to stay here and get into this.
Oh, we've had a nice time.
We're going to talk some more. No hurry at all.
We got a starting
No
time
hurry at
tomorrow.
all. But
We're not going to
no,
get
Jerry,
too,
no hurry. I
We're
just
not
wanted
going
to
to
Leo
get too
and I's got a
serious
starting
either. We're
time
just,
tomorrow morning at 11:30.
we're not going to get
You can
serious.
get serious. You can get
Go down and play
I didn't mean
I'll
to
call
interrupt
up.
you, Jerry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I.
In case anybody wants to.
But you want to pay attention, tell me now.
Right.
And you will enjoy it. You'll never believe. Believe me. Believe me.
Down below. It's an
You'll
executive
never
course.
believe what this guy did with that golf
You know
course.
what I mean?
It's not too far from where you are.
But, well,
No, I didn't say this
Go
because
down
I
there
thought
and
you
see
were better. Every
Cindy Cooper and tell
what
her
I'm just
I hope
saying.
not.
that I sent
What
you.
I'm saying is I said,
She's a pro.
I know her, I know her.
Yeah, I'd like to get down. We don't have to get down.
I know her.
But you'll love it because it calls for an accurate shot. They got par 3, they're 170, 180,
overall, he was a well
190, they're not